Hi, I'm Mark from Girls Love Pearls in the Brisbane Arcade. Thanks for taking the time to stop by and watch this video today. It's on an interesting subject, a question that I get asked a lot in the boutique day to day when people come in to buy a beautiful piece of pearl jewellery for themselves or for a loved one. And the question is, what types of pearls are there? This is a great question and one I look forward to sharing and answering for you, so stay there and we'll get right into it. Welcome back. So the topic is, what types of pearls are there? It's a really interesting topic to discuss this, and as I said, it's a little bit involved. So I'll use a flowchart that I've prepared to help walk you through this interesting subject and hopefully to avoid any confusion and to make things as clear as possible. So to start with, if we look across the top of this chart, there's three parent groups. To the left we've got natural pearls. In the centre we have cultured pearls, which is what most of our subject discussion will be today, and then to the right we have simulated or man-made pearls. So just before we get into the cultured pearl area, we'll take a look at and discuss the other two categories here. The natural pearls are ones that are found in the wild in an oyster that has been growing a pearl from an irritant, such as a grain of sand. These are fairly rare, and they were pearls that were available before cultured pearling became a process back in 1902-1903, invented by a Japanese gentleman called Mikimoto. A lot of the pearls that you see of old times, so back in quite a few hundred years ago, in royalty, that type of thing, you'll see are natural pearls, generally produced from Persian area around the Gulf. That's basically all there was. So they are fairly rare, fairly valuable, and normally something that you won't find in a commercial sense in a store. The other group we'll just touch on briefly here are the simulated pearls. So these are the man-made pearls, done and produced by plastics, resins and glass. Very inexpensive and of course very readily available. So that leaves us with the centre group of cultured pearls. Cultured pearls is a term referring to a pearl that's produced by a living organism, i.e. an oyster or a mussel, but the pearl is produced through the intervention of man. So man will insert either a bead or a little piece of mantle tissue, in the case of a freshwater mussel, to instigate the pearl growth. If we have a look at the chart now, you'll see that under the cultured pearl category there's basically three subgroups. So we have the Akoya oyster, which is found generally in the waters of Japan and also more recently in Australia. We'll touch on those a little bit later. In the centre we have the South Sea pearls, and this particular group again is divided into three subgroups. So again, when we get to that area we'll have a look at those in turn. And then the last group of cultured pearls are your freshwater pearls, generally produced in China from a freshwater mussel as opposed to an oyster as the South Sea and the Akoya are. So taking a look at the Akoya oyster, these are the traditional oysters, very first grown in Japan at the turn of last century by a guy called Mikimoto. A lot of people are familiar with the Mikimoto brand, and they produced pearls of exquisite perfection, and the pearls themselves growing from a smaller oyster, therefore their sizes probably from around about generally 2 up to 9 to 10 millimetre. Their colours vary from a white through to a secondary tone, white with cream and also white with pink. They also produce a very gorgeous colour called rosé, which is a mixture of the cream and the pink together, quite sought after. The centre group are the South Sea pearls. So this is quite intriguing as it has a little bit of a breakdown of three subcategories, as I mentioned before. In this group we have the Australian South Sea pearls, which are the white pearls produced from around Broome and the Northern Territory area in Australia. The centre group are Indonesian, so we have they're producing some more of a gold type colour. And then we also have the Tahitian, which produce the dark pearls from around Tahiti generally. They probably produce around 85% of the production, although areas like Fiji and the Cook Islands also do produce the dark pearl. The South Sea pearls are produced from a larger oyster, the silver-lipped oyster producing the Australian pearl. In the case of the Indonesian, you've got the gold-lipped oyster and then the black-lip producing the Tahitian. The pearls are grown from a larger oyster, therefore the pearls are ending up being a much bigger size than the Japanese. We're going from around about an 8 to 9 millimetre crossover size with the Japanese through to 18, 19 and 20 millimetre. These are quite large and generally a little bit more on the expensive side. You'll find that the average size is sort of that 10 through to 15 millimetre, what you'll find in a quite reasonable price bracket. So just taking a look at the Australian pearl, the colours on these are absolutely stunning. So you have a very much pure white type colour, sometimes with a very slight blue or grey tone coming in, which is producing a platinum or a silver white tone. You can also get them with a very slight pink coming in as well. The colours also produce a very, very light cream, a champagne type tone coming through, and I have seen just recently some sort of quite deep gold colours as well. So quite exciting colours and absolutely gorgeous pearls. Indonesian pearls, again very similar to the Australian except for the coloration of the actual shell itself, so therefore producing more of those gold and light champagne and very beautiful cream type colours. The size is very similar, although a little bit more difficult to produce the larger gold pearls in those larger sizes, whereas the white Australian pearls are able to produce those larger, sort of the 15 through to 20 millimetre, a little bit more, even though they're rare and hard to do, whereas the golds are a little bit more difficult again to get in those sizes. Now the Tahitian pearls are again produced from a slightly smaller version of the South Sea oyster, the black-lipped oyster. They'll produce pearls generally again of similar size in the South Sea range, but again getting in those larger ones, say above 15 millimetres, getting a little bit more difficult to get those at the moment, whereas once upon a time they were produced in the larger sizes. So colours with the Tahitian, really beautiful. The ideal or the preferred colour is what they call the peacock, which is the pink with a green sort of coloration combination. You also get some very beautiful bronze type colours, green, blue, grey, and there's quite a few really varied tones. It's absolutely amazing, almost like a rainbow spectra produced by the Tahitian pearls. Now the freshwater pearls are interesting compared to the oyster grown pearls of the other two species types. So with the freshwater, as the chart shows and the name suggests, they're grown from a freshwater mussel as opposed to an oyster. Now the difference between the two is that an oyster will produce one pearl at one time, and the pearl is generated from a round mother of pearl bead being inserted into the oyster. With the mussels, on the other hand, these are, the pearls in the mussels are instigated through putting small incisions and then placing a piece of mantle tissue from a donor mussel to get those pearls growing. So as such, they can actually grow anywhere from between 20 to 30 pearls initially in the smaller sizes from a mussel. As they grow, they do have the option to take those out and transplant them into other mussels to then grow larger pearls. So the growth rates with the freshwater pearls, you find anywhere from between 9 months through to 2 years. And then with the larger ones, that can then go for another, say, 2 years beyond that again to get into the 16, 17 and 18 millimetre sizes that we're just starting to see now. So absolutely amazing pearls coming from the freshwater. So just in summarising, I hope that this video has given you a little bit of an explanation and a clarity on how and what are the different types of pearls produced. If any of you have any questions or queries, please feel free to drop me a line on email, mark, M-A-R-K, @girlslovepearls.com.au, or if you want to visit the website, www.girlslovepearls.com.au. There's a lot of interesting information on there, as well as a catalogue giving you some samples of what we carry in the boutique in the Brisbane Arcade. So categories including rings, pendants, earrings, strands and bracelets. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.